second time I meet Danny.
Wow.
I've never met Gavin or Lily
Also,
before.
Gavin twice.
I've never met anyone. I haven't never met anyone.
Well, you kept thinking negative, Shiplo. This is why we keep telling you think positive, because it's going to happen.
Okay. Okay, I will.
Congratulations, it's here. Should we meet now, or should we just wait until, and then should we panic and meet ourselves
Can
then?
we say hi first when they show up?
I will do the same.
Let's start all muting ourselves, but if you have something that you want to pop in and say, feel free to unmute yourself, just so we're not all talking at the same time. But it's so great to see so many new faces, you guys. Thank you for joining Plus Pass. You know, we're going to stick around at the end of the show as well if you guys want to hang out and hear about the other exciting events we have coming up this month, because even if you just signed up for Plus Pass for this event, you actually get a whole month's worth of our events that you can attend for free. So we have a lot of really special things coming up, which is really great. And we want you to come back and hang out, and we want you to join the Facebook group, and it'll be really fun. Really fun to hang out. See all you guys over and over again. And I know people love to leave their cameras off, but I'm gonna get you for a picture at the end, so be on the lookout.
How long does this usually last?
Oh, it's gonna be for an hour.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Okay.
Rachel, you guys have quite the Spongebob setup there.
Yeah.
This is just half the stuff. I saw Isaac's stuff and I went, hey, we got to get in on this. So
I've been admiring it, slowly watching it assemble.
I got my Ethan Slater outfit on.
I got these guys.
Oh, Isaac. Are those little gingerbread men?
I made them for pretty much every character, but these are the ones I want to show off to them.
Beautiful.
I have my Ethan Slater shirt and pants on.
Oh.
I got my Chicago hoodie on and my Simple Sponge shirt on as well.
Amazing. You know, we had a Come From Away event last Sunday, and people showed up with Come From Away shirts, but nothing like this SpongeBob crowd. Let me tell you, you guys are representing.
Merchandising
the show. The show is wonderfully zany. It's chaotic. It's beautiful. So are the fans. That's the best.
I didn't have a SpongeBob shirt. I did wear blue.
Oh, good.
I've got my best day.
It's the best.
So fun.
We just joined in late. The person talking, the host, it says Broadway Plus under your name. What's your name?
Yes, hi Gracie. My name is Ryan Murphy. You guys, a lot of you who have been Plus Pass members for a while now will know my name and the sound of my voice. You guys are probably getting emails from me. If you're in the Facebook group, I'm trying to post a lot, and seeing you guys there. But yeah, we launched Plus Pass back in November, to give you guys a little background. And we're doing a combination of concerts, cast reunions, some dance classes, and we have an industry panel with some talent agents coming up too. So it kind of runs the gamut of fun, informational, entertainment too. So great.
Very cool. This is our first time, so we're looking forward to it.
First timers. Let's get some jazz hands from first timers. Yes! Oh my gosh, my screen just lit up. This is so great. So fun to get this started. Guys, we are only a minute away. So exciting. Fantastic. And I hope everyone's having a good week too. You know, this being on a Thursday, it made my week fly by, and then we just got to get through Friday, and then we've got a long weekend, guys.
Can you call it a
but
long
I got
weekend
schoolwork to do, and I don't want to do it.
Oh no.
Can you call it a long weekend when we're still at home?
This is true, Isaac. What are 3-day weekends these days?
This is the longest spring break of my life.
Spring break, Lucky.
We're in Windsor, Ontario, Canada, and we're on lockdown. We're not allowed to leave our homes now for 30 days. So we're really happy you guys provide this service. As a mom, I want to say thank you because this is awesome for my kids. I appreciate it.
Oh, Rachel, we appreciate that too. And this makes our day today so great too, seeing all of you guys joining us from home. And we have got Ethan Slater in the house, Danny Skinner.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey,
Oh my gosh. How you doing, guys?
Doing great.
Good.
Having a great
Doing
time.
good. I was muted, but now I'm doing great.
It's like a rite of passage entering into a Zoom room. You're muted, you know?
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
just
it wouldn't make sense otherwise.
Ethan, how are you? Did you hear about Noah helping us find an office?
I did. I did hear that. That's awesome. He called me right after you two talked.
This is Ethan's brother-in-law is somewhat coincidentally helping us find a new Broadway Plus office.
It's what a good team up. Great people at a great company with a great family.
That's so funny.
the
How you
network
been?
just grows. And we've got Gavin too.
Hey, Broadway Plus peeps!
Hi,
How you
Hi,
doing?
Gavin.
Hey.
See, Gavin makes an entrance.
Yeah.
I
you
know,
always
I
Gavin
should've
is
come
good
with
at making an
tattoos on,
entrance.
really. I should have gone tick tap 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 tap. Here I am.
Then we would have
I'm pinning you, Gavin. You're pinned
like
now,
that,
so I can focus only on you.
Yeah. Oh, here she is. Here's Miss
Hi,
Piggy.
Lily.
Hi. I've been here for like a half an hour. I just didn't say anything.
Oh, really?
I've been watching you all.
How did we do?
Sounds surreal. Yeah, how are we doing? What was your favorite thing that we said, Lily?
I have notes.
Okay.
I'll email you.
Shall we get the party started?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Hey everyone, I'm Nathaniel. This is Ryan. We're the Broadway Plus team. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have been dreaming of this event for, I don't know, 5 or 6 months now. So it is pretty exciting and fantastic to have our friends Ethan, Gavin, Danny, and Lily here. Thank you and welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
What's up?
Oh, you know, we're all actually quarantining together. We're just in different rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all
We're
went in on a
super excited.
4-bedroom in Astoria.
Yeah, and Gavin is outside.
I'm
Gavin's
not
on the
allowed.
front
No, I look like I'm in a prison cell.
Yeah.
This is the basement
Well-
of my in-laws.
Well, we want to thank all of you for joining us today and for collaborating with us throughout the year at Broadway Plus. We're really excited about Plus Pass. It's just two months old at this point, but we have hundreds of members already, and they are so excited to connect with you today and ask their questions. And I'm going to turn it over to Ryan, who's going to help us get some fans on camera and get the party started.
Yes,
Amazing.
absolutely. Thank you everybody for coming today. We've got a real treat. And to really kick things off, I mean, by the look of all of the Spongebob paraphernalia going on, people know who you guys are. But I would love for you guys to give a little background of your onstage history, how you guys got to be in the show, SpongeBob the musical. Ethan, let's start with you, and then we can kick it off to someone else.
Sure. Well, okay, there's a lot of different angles to go at this, but no promises. Once I get started, there's no stopping me. I first met Lilli Cooper at college before we started on SpongeBob, and we met up at Vassar and became friends, and then totally separately, I happened into this audition for this untitled Tina Landau project, which didn't have a script, it didn't have any music, it didn't even have a title, and the casting director had just happened to see me at my sort of first professional audition, and they called me 2 weeks later and said, like, we have this other thing, can't tell you what it is, but you're like the right shape for it, which was like, I was like, oh, so thoughtful that you thought of me. Like, I can't, that's so nice, but also, ouch. And then, you know, I went in and I had this audition, and the audition was like the coolest thing ever because we had these sides from the TV show, from SpongeBob, but then we also were tasked with doing a physical comedy routine, just us doing something. And I think my first audition, I was trying to put on a sweater, but it was rebelling against me, and so I was like trying to put it on, and it kept flying away, and I was like diving through it, and I didn't try to do an impression because I didn't think I could, and Tina was like, great audition, good, try the voice, it's super important. Like, came back days later, tried the voice, and then I got to work on it, which is the first day of rehearsal is where I met Danny Skinner. He's
Oh, is it my turn? Is it my turn now?
No,
it's not. It's still my turn. And we, like, on the first day of rehearsal, I'm gonna tell part of this story. Danny, you can tell the rest of it. On the first day of rehearsal, we were just like, hey, we're gonna be playing best friends in this thing. We should probably like become best friends, right? Like we should like go. We went to a Thai restaurant on 9th Avenue and had like a long after the rest is history. We've just been, you know, best buds ever since.
You know, for opening night, I was trying to find some gifts for people, and I actually went. The name of the restaurant was Yum Yum Thai 2, and so we went to the second Yum Yum Thai, and I asked, "Do you guys sell gift cards?" And they said, "Yeah," and they said no. They said we do not sell gift cards. You can just tell them to come order something, and you can pay for it later.
Great first night gift.
Yeah. So we went with just a regular card.
That feels like a natural handoff, right?
Yeah, it sure does. I'm gonna take it. So I'm Danny Skinner. I also did the same thing with Ethan, the very first workshop. I met the casting director through doing. I went to Syracuse University for my BFA, and I actually did a class with the casting director, and he said to me, like you said to you about your shape, he was like, we need a large guy that can move around a lot. And I was like, that should just be my name on my resume from now on. Large guy that can move around a lot. So anyways, I also did some sides from the SpongeBob show. It was very easy. I'm a super fan of SpongeBob just in general. And so it was really easy to pick up. I was like, oh, this is SpongeBob. And then he, of course, emailed the picture, and he's like, it's SpongeBob, surprise. And it was not a surprise. So anyways, I did that. I went to Chicago, went to Broadway, and here we are, you know? So I'm going to hand it off to Mr. Gavin Lee.
Woo! So I think I think Lilli and I joined at the same time. So Danny and Ethan were like veterans by the time me and Lilli joined in, because they'd done, I think, maybe 2 or 3 workshops and readings over almost 5 years. Am I right, guys? Yeah. So I think, Lilli, you joined the same time as me. I just auditioned for the Chicago tryout.
Yeah.
So for any brand new Broadway show, they usually go to a different city a few months before you're going to go to Broadway, so that you can work on it, and all the nasty New York critics aren't there, so you can work on it and fix it and change it every afternoon. You'd be changing things, and then at night you'd put the changes in and things like that. So Chicago was where I joined the show, and then went on to play it a year later on Broadway. Boom. And I also had to do some script, and my first audition, because it was for Squidward, and then by I think by the time I joined it, they'd written that song "I'm Not a Loser," and they knew that Squidward was going to have this massive Broadway number in Act 2. So the breakdown for my role was, here are the sides, here's the script we want you to learn, and sing the most Broadway song you ever sung. So I sang a song from a show called The Apple Tree called "I'm Gorgeous." And the first lyric is, look at me, I'm gorgeous. So I thought, that's pretty Squidward. So I went completely over the top with that song. And then my talent that Ethan mentioned, we all had to do something. He did the sweater trying to get away from himself. I just did a ridiculously stupid dance routine based off the Squidward episode where he goes a bit, woo, and he does this move. And Squidward goes a bit weird. I went, right, that's my basis for my act, for my special. And I just did a really goofy routine based off that move. So that was my first audition. And Tina, I was very lucky. At the end of my very embarrassing routine, Tina stood up and applauded me, which was very nice. she turned around to everyone else in the room, the other creators, and went, "This is the exact sort of move that we're looking for, this kind of movement." And so I was like, "Oh, okay, you mean just ridiculously stupid movement? Okay, I got it." So my first audition went very well, and then 3 or 4 auditions after that, I got the role. Tag, Lilli.
Tag team. Hey everybody, I'm Lilli Cooper. I played Mr. Krabs.
Can't you see?
Just kidding. I was Sandy Cheeks. And my trajectory to SpongeBob was pretty fun because I had heard about it because of Ethan, because I knew that Ethan was playing the titular role from whence we attended college together. And I'd heard about it and I was really excited about the prospect of auditioning for it. And then I call Ethan and I'm like, okay, my audition's on this day at this time. He's like, I'm going to be there. So he was in the audition with me. So Ethan and I got to play off of each other. We got to read scenes together. I got to sing my song to him. And then in my very first audition, Tina Landau, our director, this is another example of like one of the wacky things that we got to do in our auditions. She asked me if I could do a karate dance. Does anybody know what a karate dance is? I don't.
Go.
I didn't at the time. So I made one up, and it was really fun. And then my kind of homework assignment for my callback was to do to choreograph a minute-long karate dance. And so I was doing a show at the time. So, like during the day before the show, I would work on choreographing this karate dance, and it was wacky and ridiculous, and I just like made a bunch of stuff up. And I think my favorite part was in the very end. I had a pencil in my hair through the whole dance, and because it was a karate dance, I wanted to show off my karate moves. So I pull the pencil out of my hair and I pretend like I'm gonna karate chop it really slowly, and I'm on the pencil, and then at the last minute I just break it on my leg and I drop it on the floor. And that's what booked me the job right there.
That was an incredible moment. I remember that, like, I remember that joke so clearly.
Aw, I love that.
That's awesome. Thank you guys. Well, now we're going to get some awesome fans on camera for some questions. And Rachel Katz, you had a really great question about kids. Do you want to unmute yourself?
Sure. Hi.
Hi,
Rachel. Hey, Rachel.
So my question was, did you have to stick to the way the characters were in the TV show, or were you able to make them more like from scratch and have creative freedom?
And I say we could ping pong this to everybody again.
I'll just say, I know that in my first audition, which was many years after Ethan, when Ethan was told next time come back and do the voice, by the time I was going to the getting an audition, she said as soon as I walked in, we're not looking for a carbon copy of Squidward from the cartoon. You know, Roger Bumpus, the fabulous voice actor, does the voice. So that made me instantly go, oh, thank heavens I haven't got to just be a replica of that character voice-wise. She always said we're doing the human versions of these 2D characters, and we're taking the DNA from these 2D cartoons and making them into human versions. So my reply to your answer is no, we didn't have to do replicas. We could take the essence and go off on our own tangent. Do you agree with me, guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was like, I think that the entire creative team was really passionate about us making our own unique versions of these, because the thing is, we are humans, and humans can't always do the same things that cartoons can. Ethan can literally do anything that a cartoon can. Sure. And so we really had to figure out, what are the human versions of these characters? What are the kind of human traits that they have, and how do we bring those onto the stage, and how do we bring ourselves into the characters? And it was really fun to kind of explore that, because we never wanted to just imitate the show. We wanted to have something very unique that had never been done before.
I feel like one of the quintessential anecdotes in my mind of working on The Voice was that we got to do one of the readings of a new script. We're sitting around a table, and Tina's explaining, sort of what Gavin said, which is like, it's our voices. It's not exactly SpongeBob, Patrick, Sandy, Squidward. It's like, it's somewhere in between. She's explaining, and she's like, Ethan, just say your first line. And it had been months since we'd worked on it. It was the first day of rehearsal. I'm like sitting there, and I was like, the line was, good morning, world, and all who inhabit it. But I did it however I did it, and she goes, yeah, so not like that, but like sort of like somewhere in between. And I was like, oh my goodness. But that was the whole thing. It was like, you had it, you were exactly on point, and then the next day there was this moment of being like, okay, actually, can you be a little bit more human? Or like, can you be like a little more cartoony? And so it was like going back and forth in this way to like calibrate it until once we were running the show, we could just wake up and talk that way.
It's all spot on. Everybody was spot on. I would say that Tina was like, you could lose it within an hour. Like, it was like you had it, and then Tina would come over to you and be like, 20% too much. And she would like get a percentage amount of how far you need to go. And so like you'd come and be like, yeah, I got this. It's going to be so much fun to play today. And at the end, you're like, I don't think I got this at all. And then, but eventually it became such a wonderful, it's wonderful. It's like also the designers were trying to figure it out too, like from Chicago to Broadway. Ethan's costume when it was shorts. Remember that, Ethan? Those were great shorts.
He was showing his full leg was being shown in Chicago.
Bleeding.
So back to like what Gavin was saying earlier about going to Chicago where not the mean New York critics are, and trying to figure it out. That was exactly right. Even the designers were trying to figure out and trying to see what was the SpongeBob-esque, like what felt right. And we learned that pants feel better than shorts.
That was the big takeaway from Chicago.
That was it.
Pants. Just pants.
And for Ethan, no big yellow spiky wig.
Yeah, that too.
Oh man, that thing was so cool. That weird like acid punk.
Funky punky.
Time out. There was a moment though, Ethan, where you actually bleached your hair. They bleached your hair for one of the workshop. You went away and you were like, okay, cool. Ethan's got red hair, and he came back and you're like, okay, so Ethan's now in a ska band. What is going on here?
I went and I did this 4-hour long hair treatment. I got there at 7 a.m. They opened the salon early so that I could make it to rehearsal. And we're just doing a workshop. It's like a 3-week workshop, and I'm sitting in this chair for hours, and it's burning my scalp. I've never had this experience before. And I'm like, no, it's fine. And then I take it off, and it's yellow. And I was like, what color is this? And the incredible hairstylist who was doing exactly what they'd asked said lemon zest. and then she walks with me 20 blocks down to where we were doing the workshop, and I walk into the theater. I'll just never forget the feeling of our designer David Zinn and director Tina Landau watching me walk in, and it was Ethan, why don't you wait in the dressing room and I will come get you soon. But I had that incredible hair for a while. Honestly, I miss it.
Well, hopefully hair salons open up soon and you can do it all again.
We're all going for the lemon zest.
Yes, always. That was incredible. And Rachel, thank you so much for your question. We'll move on to the next one. Nina Rosa had a really great one about how high energy this show is. Nina?
Hi.
Hi there, Nina.
Hi, Nina.
So I just wanted to say that my English might not be very good because it's not my main language.
Your English is amazing, Nina.
Amazing.
Thanks.
We understood all of that.
Cool. So my question was, the show must have been rather effortful to do several times a week. So were there days that you weren't really motivated to do the show? And if yes, what did you do to motivate yourself?
How it was began.
I napped a lot. I had to rest in between when we had 2 show days. I had to rest in between shows because it's so high energy, it's so intense. Like you really kind of had to bring your energy down to be able to like bring it back up again. You couldn't stay at a 10 all day long. So I think rest was really important, and sleep in general was really important for me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not very good at napping. I don't know why. I just like can't fall asleep, and then when I do, I can't wake up. So I would turn down the lights. I had like a light set up in my room that would like let my eyes rest, and I would put on music. We would sometimes watch movies in between shows, which was like a really good way to be social and feel like we were hanging out with our friends, but still not like do anything. I will say that like my experience of doing that show, and I wouldn't trade it for the world, but I did nothing except for the show and like things involved with the show. We did a lot of press and stuff like that. But as soon as we were done with the show or the stage door, I went straight home and went to bed. And one of the amazing things about doing SpongeBob was that people from every single year of my life came to see the show. People that I hadn't seen in a decade came to see the show, and it was amazing and so heartwarming. I feel so supported. But I couldn't go to a restaurant with them because it was too loud, and I couldn't, stay out late after a show with them because it was too late and I needed to sleep. So that there was a lot of conservation of energy. And the last thing that I'll say is that I would get a lot of like coffee or chai tea as just like a pick me up. It was like such a nice, like in between shows, you just like walk over, you like get your chai tea, you, like come back. It's all about the little things.
I have to say, Ethan's show was, I mean, everyone's show was ridiculous, including obviously Lilli, Danny, and all the ensemble. The quick changes and the ensemble were working like crazy. But Ethan's personal show, I would be in the wings because I had to get, my character, I kind of had to get my energy up for one number in that too. A number that absolutely killed me, and it was like a bomb blowing up for 5 minutes. But other than that, my character's pretty like glum, miserable, low energy. I mean, you still have to have an energy to play that, but Ethan, I mean, my God, I don't know how you did that for the 10 months that we did the show, because it was a killer. And then you did so much throughout the whole show, but then about 15 minutes before the end, if anyone saw the show, you had to climb up that volcano, which was the ladder wall, and you chose to do that route, so it's your fault. Yep. But he was hanging upside down and having to climb like 50 ladders in the last 15 minutes of your show after you had been running around, probably doing a marathon. So, I mean, hats off, Ethan, for the energy that you every single night gave to that character. It was just amazing, and no wonder you did nothing else but the show.
It wasn't that hard. Whatever. Get over it.
My favorite part of the entire show is after everything that Ethan does, he then has to sing in his falsetto at the beginning of Best Day Ever. That's my personal favorite part of the show. Is that
my voice would crack?
And then that's my favorite. That got me through the show every night. Just knowing that he'd have to do that was what my motivation.
Oh no. Well, you guys clearly made quite the impression on stage, and I mean, I can't imagine doing so many press experiences as well, trying to get the word out, and your commitment is very, very palpable. Okay, speaking of favorite moments, Gracie Sokoloff had a really fun question about some backstage moments. Gracie?
So this goes for everyone. Have you guys ever had like maybe a funny prank or funny joke that happened backstage that you would like to share?
Lilli.
If you're allowed to share.
The great thing about the setup of College Theater was that most of the dressing rooms were in the basement underneath the stage or up in a tower that you had to take an elevator or stairs to get to. And so we could, I mean, this is not recommended, obviously, and we got yelled at every now and then, but we could be fairly loud in our dressing rooms and without anybody hearing us on stage or in the audience. So we did a lot of spooks, a lot of scares, a lot of around the corner scares and spooks, which were really fun. I think I just have so many like on stage mishaps. I just laugh at them before I even tell a story. But wait, Danny, what was the BFF one that?
Oh God, that was in Chicago. In Chicago, I was listening to Ethan's. It was like very early on. Wasn't it early on, Ethan, or was it kind of middle?
It was like no, it was the very end of our Chicago run. It was like
so. I have a different memory of this
Chicago run.
So I should have known. Anyways, I should have not. This should never have happened. But Ethan's singing so wonderfully at the beginning, and there's different lyrics from the BFF in Chicago, and he's singing. I'm like, wow, he's singing such a good job. And I totally forgot my line. The music came and I look at Ethan. I go beep bop boop boo, and I just scattered. I scattered for a solid lyric, and you know what? We played it off. I think is what happened there. Got a note, so that was not a fun time.
Something fun that
isn't a prank.
A lot is. Do you guys remember like the big board that said no land mammals or land mammals go home?
Land mammals go home. Yeah.
That I'm supposed to like karate kick and break in half. And the theater trick is that it's already broken in half. And surprise, spoiler alert. Ethan and Danny have to rip it apart right as I kick it. But a lot of the times, as they're like pulling it to the center stage, it just like falls apart. So that so they have to pretend like it's still together, and I have to pretend like I'm kicking it open, and then we just like fumble off stage laughing.
It was so heavy.
It was outrageously heavy. It was like unnecessarily heavy. That thing was complete wood, like all the way around.
Why?
I know that this isn't like a prank or a mishap, but it's just one of my fondest memories is when we were in Chicago and they were trying to figure out what instrument to start Hero with. You guys remember that?
It's hard to forget. It's hard to forget that one.
Because they were trying. They had so many good ideas, but they didn't tell us what was coming. So there would be like, we would be getting ready to start that song, and then we would hear just like the loudest horns you've ever heard in your life, like.
Or they would try something different all the time. Never told us. Never told us.
It was so funny.
Just keeping you on your toes.
Yeah. Those moments are the best.
Yeah.
Was this also in Chicago? Sounds like Chicago was the best time.
Well, Chicago
was
amazing. Annoyingly, when we were in rehearsals for Chicago, we had signed our contracts to do Chicago, have about a month off, come back into rehearsal for a month, and then start Broadway. But because there were no theaters available for Broadway, while we were in rehearsals for Chicago, we knew we weren't going to Broadway until a theater was available. So I don't know, maybe it took some pressure off or something. We kind of knew that Chicago was it for now. Whereas when we signed on, we thought we were coming straight to New York. So it was, I think I certainly had a feeling of like, I'm going to enjoy this so much while we're here in Chicago because there isn't, at the moment, there's not a future. So on the last night of Chicago, we had no theater to go to. That could have been it. And a few people from Chicago didn't come back to Broadway because it was a whole year later. And some people have got other jobs that weren't available. So I don't know, Chicago had, in my memory, is like, oh, that job that wasn't connected to Broadway. It was like this own thing. And also when everyone's away from their home, you know, we all come from New York or live in the vicinity. When the whole company is, it's like being on tour. You feel like even more of a family because you're all staying in the same hotel and you're all in a strange city. And Chicago was just an amazing, creative experience where we were all getting to know each other and all creating this fabulous piece of art that ended up being on Broadway a year later. It was just amazing.
And actually, on that note, I would love to invite Julie Halpern on because her question is just about this.
That's me.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hi. Oh, good. Hi. I figured out how to get on, which took me 10 minutes because today's my birthday. So
happy birthday!
Thank you. Okay, so my question is, oh God. Okay, now I can see myself because I just turned the camera. Sorry, I took a nap right before this. Oh, all right.
Oh, I feel you.
So my question is, my family, come over here, family, We were at the Chicago. We saw the show in Chicago twice, and then we flew to New York 3 times. It was the great. We just were like groupies, huge SpongeBob fan. My son Dean, my dad. Anyway, they're embarrassed. I was wondering, how do you keep it together? Like, especially Gavin. Like, when you are standing there during that like very long standing ovation. But how did you all keep it together? I mean, I was like bawling the entire final show. It was one of the most emotional nights of my life, I feel like. But how did you guys keep it together so well?
Well, I'll take it first. So the end of my the Squidward's number, you know, it's a brilliantly written song, brilliantly choreographed, just in the right place in the show for Squidward. You know, so I don't take the credit for that standing ovation being so amazingly long. It was a whole bunch of things. But I was standing there holding my top hat like I was in a chorus line. And the audience on the last night, of course, they went mad crazy about every single number, but that one, ridiculous. And I stood there and I did start crying inside, and there were a few tears, because I just realized I'm never going to have this much energy of love being thrown back onto a stage that I'm standing on ever again. It was just so powerful, and for me, like, this is the high point. This is the most applause I'm ever going to get, ever. And I'm so grateful for that, and I shall always have that. And I know that when Danny spoke about the last number, Best Day Ever, when Ethan, you know, he has to sing in falsetto, and he's staring at all of us, staring at him crying, and he has to sing. And Ethan, you broke down slightly while you were singing, and all of us were just a big mess. I mean, it was the hardest thing to not cry, because none of us wanted it to end. We were just having the time of our lives. We knew we had this gem of a show, and we didn't keep it together. You're saying, how do you keep it together? We didn't keep it together. Yeah. I didn't. How about you guys?
No, it started before the show started that night. I mean, like, you know, you can imagine that we're getting ready and it's sort of like sad, but then there's this moment like right before you start the show where you're like pumping yourself up to get going, and I'm doing like my final stretches, and you know, we get our 5, you know, our places call, and all of a sudden just the audience erupts, and we're all backstage still, and I'm like, what is going on? It's just unbelievable applause. And we run over to the monitor and we see that everyone is standing, and, you know, we're asking stage management, like, what's going on? And they said Mike Dobson walked in from the back of the theater. And Mike Dobson was our Foley artist who was making all the live sound effects. And immediately, I immediately started like heaving, you know, like cry heaving, not sick heaving, but because like, I just couldn't, I knew that this was going to be impossible to get through. The fact that our show connected so much with people in the same way that it connected with me, like that it meant so much on all levels, that Mike Dobson, who is ostensibly, you know, who is not, you know, somebody who takes a bow. He's not necessarily someone who would be seen in another show, was so seen and was so understood. Just moved me beyond belief. And then every single number was impossible to get through, but somehow we did until that final number. Yeah, that was
there's
really
like
hard.
Also like with Mike and Julie. Julie has to go out there too. It was like a family, you know. Again, it was years and years that Ethan and I we were all. It was like such a journey. So it was also like a kind of an end part of life too. Like, you know, every year had so many different stages of this show's development for so many years. And what really means the world to me was not only that it was SpongeBob, and I love SpongeBob, but everybody, that energy out there, this show that we lovingly crafted, Nickelodeon allowed us to lovingly craft and play with, was so well received, was such like, meant so much to so many people, and that's will always be one of the most amazing moments. Also, before going onto the stage, you know, there's that sponge wall, that giant wall and curtain that's made out of all the sponges. It's completely solid on the other side, so we have all this time to kind of hug each other back there. That first part before, you know, there was always a tradition of we would all put our hands in, and before the show we would all say something that got cut between Chicago to New York. So we would always like say lines that got cut, and then off we went. And during previews we would do like something that got cut that day. And it was just such a one. And then the last day, didn't we all say SpongeBob SquarePants the musical? Didn't we? On Broadway. It was such a sad, such a sad moment.
We set ourselves up very well, didn't we? To not cry. Well, have a good show, guys.
Wow. Well, you really leaned into each other's emotions and created a safe space, right?
Yeah.
Well,
it is true. Like, what? Who would have thought that a show could mean that much in so many ways? I mean, as a fan, shows have always meant a lot to me, but I don't know that anything has been so, like, I don't know. For my journey with the show personally is that it made me who I am. So it's a cool thing to know that it had that effect in different ways on so many people.
Well, and you guys were each so instrumental in the creation of the show too. So it's like your little show baby.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, speaking of going off to college, I can't wait to see when this whole thing is over and people can start gathering again. I cannot wait to see all of the college productions, the high school productions, the middle school productions, the regional I cannot wait to see something that is so amazing, because SpongeBob really, like, Bikini Bottom is such a community. And like with everybody here, I keep staring at everybody who's in here and all of the amazing things that you guys have in the view and all the all the playbills, people waving. Anyways, I can't wait to see this community and make it their own thing. That's going to be the best part of this entire journey, I think, now that it has been closed for
16
too
years.
long.
Yeah, 16 years.
17 years. Yeah.
Well, speaking of college, I do have a special congratulations to give to Molly Freer, who just got accepted to Vassar College, and has a question for Lilli and Ethan.
Yay! Congratulations!
So much. Oh my goodness. Ethan, I don't know if you remember this, but when you were on Broadway Jackbox, I actually submitted a question about Vassar.
Yeah.
I was looking at colleges at the time. So when I got in, I was like, well, there you go. So Lilli and Ethan, as I start preparing for my college experience at Vassar, I wanted to hear from you guys about what kind of classes you would recommend and professors to seek out for someone who is going to maybe be a prospective theater student at Vassar.
And I think this also plays really nicely into general advice for the aspiring artists who are on this Zoom as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think specifically what's great about Vassar is that it's a liberal arts college and you can take whatever you want. And I can genuinely associate that with everybody else's educational experience and life experience. I always recommend to take as many different types of classes as you can: music, singing, dance, acting, but also, venture out into realms that you wouldn't necessarily expect. Mm-hmm. Take a psychology class, take an art history class. The thing about being an artist is about learning about the things around you and understanding yourself in the world. And I think college is such a prime, perfect time for that. And so at Vassar specifically, you can really, really explore all of the different realms of your education. And that's so exciting. Like for me, I wasn't a drama major, I was a film major, but I still got to do a lot of the productions with the drama department, which I loved doing. So I got to really dip my toes in a lot of fields, which I think helped me, figure out who I was as a person and just learn about so much.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like my advice would be pretty much exactly the same. I think the thing that was so great. So I'll say a couple of things. One is like the studying as many things as interest you is so valuable. I took a political science class my freshman year because I was like, why not? And I ended up getting a political science minor. And that was like an incredible experience for me in addition to studying drama and, exploring music and things like that. But I will say that whether you're going to college or you choose a different sort of path after high school, I think one of the biggest things is to sort of follow those passions and to commit to them. one of my big regrets from my time at college is that I didn't do all of the reading. It's like really simple, but I did what I needed to get by in a lot of cases. And the month after I graduated, I actually had a panic attack about it. It like really hit me in this way. I was like, I wasted an opportunity of being guided in this lesson. And so I found all of these lesson plans and the from my courses that I'd blown off in school, and I read everything, which is an amazing experience. And really weird, and I wish I'd done it with a professor leading me, but it made me realize that the best learning happens when it's self-motivated learning. So I think that self-motivated learning comes from following your passions and following the things that you want to learn and trying to commit to that. It's easier said than done, obviously, but I wish that I'd done that more at the time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Gavin and Danny, do you guys have any words of wisdom for young artists getting a start in the world?
Yeah, specifically for university stuff and that type of thing. If you're a performer and you're going through a training program, the thing that always got me was this idea that you had to know everything and be perfect the first time, and it would really lock me up of like, I can't make a mistake. You gotta make mistakes. You are in a safe space trying to learn how to do things. And it is absolutely acceptable. In fact, you should fail a couple of times so that you learn how to do things and you risk. You're getting the traditional conservatory programs and liberal arts programs that are 4 years long. You're getting 4 years of practice of just getting able to get up in front of a room and do something, and really take advantage of that. Don't let fear stop you. And yes, fear means. To me, fear is always something that this means something to me. That's what my reaction to it is. Like this matters to me, and that's a great reaction. Don't let that stop you from getting up there and really taking risks, especially in a conservatory program. And for just starting out in the world, be so in tune with who you are as just an individual. Like Lilli was talking about it, and Ethan was talking about. Take classes, that interest you. Know who you are, because who you are is going to be what somebody's looking for eventually, or it's going to give you the best opportunities, because there's nobody exactly like you. So that's what I got for you.
I'll just say, hone it down into more musical theatre. If there's anyone out there that is desperate to be on Broadway, desperate to become a musical theatre performer, make the thing about musical theatre these days compared to 34 years ago is the whole triple threat thing. You've got to be good at the acting, the singing, and the dancing. So don't be one of these people that's like, well, I like singing most, and I'm okay acting. I don't really like dancing, so I don't really do much of that. If you want to pursue a musical theatre career, you should be doing more of the thing you're least good at. They're the more classes you need to do, because you need to be a triple threat. You need to be good at all three things to get through the door and get that callback and things like that. So again, it's like, don't shy away from, well, my singing's not so good, my dancing's great, so I'll just do all dance classes. No, you have to get your singing, everything has to be up at this level to make it on Broadway or make it as a musical theatre performer in America.
I also think that like studying those things and like doing what you're saying, Gavin, is so helpful just to sort of empathize with people who come at it from a different angle. And being a better collaborator. If you're somebody who's terrified of dancing, take a bunch of dance classes and you'll see what it's like for a dancer who is terrified of singing. And it makes you a better collaborator and a better artist, to lean into your weaknesses that way for so many reasons.
Nice.
Awesome.
Hey, Ethan.
Thank you. Now I would love to invite our next guest up. Deborah Child had a great question.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Deb.
Before I start my question, I just want to say that SpongeBob is my favourite musical ever, and you all mean such a lot to me. And without SpongeBob, which is a good old DVD, it's definitely got me through lockdown in the UK, so I really appreciate it and I love you all. Anyway, my question is, what is your favourite line in the musical? Mine is, look, Sandy, bubbles.
Oh.
And I already know Ethan's.
Oh, what's my favorite? I have to think. Other people go first.
Oh, I mean, oh my gosh, I can't remember now. It's been too long. But obviously, you stand in the wings, and there's certain lines that Kyle Jarrow wrote that you're just like, I love that line, or I love the way that Lilli says that, or the way Danny says that. So I had loads of lines that just got me here every night. My favorite line to say, just to Squidward, is my very first line. And I think it was just something about, the line is, well, Jojo, please keep it down. That's the line. But it like sets up like that. Oh, there's the grumpy neighbor, there's Squidward. And it was the fact that I said that line behind my house. So Ethan and Danny would be there and say Squidward or something, and then they'd be singing, I'd say the line. So to me, it felt like the audience are going, so that is a line that I did try and make it sound exactly like Squidward, because it was my first line. And I just liked being behind there, holding my clarinet, behind the thing, knowing I was making my big entrance as Squidward, and I just loved that it echoed through the theatre, me saying, well, Jojo, please keep it down. And so I don't know, I just love that line, my very first line.
My favorite moment is at the very end, right before Ethan climbs the volcano, where SpongeBob is talking about how he's just a simple sponge, he can't do it, he's terrified, it's all of this. And then Sandy and Patrick get to stop him and tell him the truth of like, no, you are manager material and you can do this. And that moment to me is my favorite, because it's such an affirmation of like taking somebody who is looking down and already canceling themselves out of like, I cannot do this, and making them empowered. I love that moment so much.
Yeah, that's a really great moment. One of my favorite lines is, I think, the longest line that I've ever had in any show I've ever done, which is when I was at the chalkboard, or the pointer board, and I'm like, Figure 1, diagram of a volcanic eruption caused by rapid pressure buildup and blah, 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 blah. And I spewed it out every night, and it was a lot of really big words and really, really fast. And there was one night where I forgot the words to that monologue, basically. And I had to list a bunch of things, right? I was like, Figure 1, Figure 2, Figure 3, Figure 4. I get to Figure 3, and I'm like, Figure 3! Figure 1! And I just go back to the top. And that's how I got through it. But ever since then, I'm just so proud of myself for getting through that line, ever. So that was one.
Really? I thought you were going to spew the whole monologue then, and I was going to go, you go, girl, you still remember that? And then you went,
I think I know like 2 figures, and then I lost, and then I lose it.
I'm having this moment which happens a lot, where I can't remember if something was cut.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna it's most certainly not conducive to rocking. Was that cut?
Yeah.
Yes, that was cut.
I remember that line.
That's one of my favorite cut lines, which was the electric skate played by Logan going, rock and roll! Rock and roll! Oh yeah! Come on. And then at the very end, he turns and goes, it's most certainly not conducive to rocking.
Yeah.
Walks out.
Yeah. And he does
favorite line.
Like very kind of like affluent voice.
And for a moment, they were all British.
They were all like Australian. It was really.
Well, they were all supposed to be British.
Yeah.
Well, also the thing is, when we were in Chicago when we were first doing the run, we were running at like 3 hours, and Tina and Kyle had to cut the show down, and we'd come in every day we'd have afternoon rehearsals and then do the show at night. And this happens on Broadway as well. When you get into previews on Broadway, you come in every afternoon and they do changes, and we'd all be we were all very glad that no one ever lost one of their numbers. So no whole number ever got cut from the show. Yeah. But because they wanted to keep all the numbers from all these wonderful artists, they had to just snip. It was mainly Kyle Jarrow's jokes just had to keep getting cut, not because they weren't good, because the show was too long. And there are so many fabulous SpongeBob jokes that were on the cutting room floor because it was too long, and you'd be like, oh no, they've cut my best joke. But that's what you have to do with a brand new show. You keep doing this till it's the length that feel the show should be for a Broadway show.
Gavin, all of our kitchen stuff.
Oh my gosh! So I mean,
we had hundreds of hours of kitchen bits.
If we went back to our original Chicago script, you'd be like, there's pages of jokes and gags that we were like, oh, we worked so hard on that, and they have to get cut. And it would be great to. I mean, we have the fans. We should do the 4-hour version of SpongeBob and put it all back in.
Wait, one other really quick story about something getting cut. Well, this might not be worth telling, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Danny, I have this like really, really fond memory of the first workshop. We had like, Tina was like, go outside for an hour and come up with some choreography for this number. Like it wasn't a real number. They had just given us a song or whatever, and we went into the hallway of the rehearsal studio and we came up with all of this choreography, including me like jumping up onto your shoulders. And we spent like 40 minutes trying to make sure that we could like get the balance right for me to like jump onto your shoulders. And then we finished and we came in and they were like, yeah, we don't have time today. Thank you so much for doing that though.
They had a moment where they were like trying to put us into an actual bubble. They spent so much time and effort on like, they brought in like a bubble specialist, somebody who dedicated their lives to making sure that like the humidity's got to be this in order to get bubbles to work from the gazillion bubble show. It was bubbles, actual bubbles. And so like we saw, and then eventually it was going to be like Ethan gets on like a platform and we make him into a giant bubble and we encase him. That lasted all of one afternoon. They did all of that. They brought it in and they said, nope, this is not. Nope, done.
I thought I'd be able to find this picture, but I can't. Yeah, it was so. But I feel like that speaks to. It actually speaks really highly of the process. Where like they sound like these little disappointing moments, but actually what they're indicative of is like. It was an experience throughout from beginning to end where it was like come up with ideas, and we'll see what works. Which meant a lot of things. One, it meant that we got to be as creative as we possibly could, which is just like the dream. But the other thing is that it meant that we were letting the best idea win. So nothing was precious. Like you came up with 5 different things, and the best one of those is what you used, even if you spent the longest on a different one. And that just like makes you do better things and do more fun, and it's more fun. And the cuts always ended up like a week later we were like, yeah, that was a good cut.
There was almost,
yeah.
It added almost this element of like this healthy competition where it was like, ooh, I want to come up with the best bit. I'm going to come up with really good. I can't wait to tell Tina this amazing bit. And it was just constantly this like urge to bring things to the table, which was so exciting and also really rare for a creative space to really be like that.
But Tina would make us feel so great that I can remember being in rehearsals and like, okay, everyone, a theme and get up and do something, or walk across the room with this theme I've given you, and everyone would do it, and you thought it was so great. And I know it just made you so confident. She made you so confident that occasionally you would walk across with something that was so terrible, and everyone would just go, and you'd suddenly go, because you were like, oh no, that was terrible. Sorry. But Tina had the ability to make us all feel like, just be a fried egg on the floor. Just go and do it. Be a fried egg. And you just do it. And occasionally you'd get embarrassed, but for a split second. And then, because someone else would then make a fool of themselves. And I've never been so free in a rehearsal room to go, oh, I'm just going to try this. It's going to be terrible, but let's just do it. Whereas when I was younger and in other environments, you're like, well, I'm not going to suggest that, even though I know that's a pretty good idea, because you don't want to look like a fool. Whereas we were in SpongeBob SquarePants the musical. We were all playing fools. I was playing the squid. So, you were happy to go there because Tina made you feel so relaxed. It was great.
Yeah.
It's like improv on steroids.
Yes.
And you're all yes-anding each other all the time, except for maybe the lemon zest hair, but
Yeah, right. That was yes, but.
Yes, but. Amazing. Okay, well, I think we have time for one, maybe two more. Madison Mackey had a great quick question. Madison?
Hi.
Oh, Madison, we just lost you.
Oh.
Can't hear you.
Oh no. Want to try one more time? Oh, well, give us a big wave and I can ask your question for you. Hi! All right. Madison's question was, if you could go back and perform one number, which one would you choose?
I think if I could do like one number again from SpongeBob,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it would just have to be, for me, it would have to be Best Day Ever, because everybody is in on it together, and like Bikini Bottom Day also has that vibe, and Tomorrow Is also has that vibe, but in those songs we're all in our own worlds. Best Day Ever, we're like sing with each other, and there's like it's irreplaceably joyful. So I love that, even though it's like terrifying vocally. it's just the most fun.
I would say the SpongeBob theme song, because that's when we really got to just let loose, and it was after the show was over, and I had the exceptional gift of being able to run into the audience and high five everybody down the main aisle of the theater.
Awesome.
So that was my favorite moments in the show.
My favorite is actually opening number. After we'd all done our intros, and then Keithan would go, "Good morning, Bikini Bottom," and the sponge wall goes out for the first time, and then everyone is just in their own world doing this, and I remember I had 2 interactions with Ethan where SpongeBob annoys the hell out of me, and I'd be like, "Ah," and just saying hi to everyone, and people have got their like Starbucks in their hand and they're going to work. It was that sort of feel. It was just, and the loudness of the orchestra, and that was my favorite. The last big chorus of the opening number was just like, boom, here we are, and I loved it.
I guess for me, I would do I Guess I Miss You. I just love that so much. So I would do that. Or I would make Ethan have to do the ladder choreography from Chicago's opening number, where he had to duck a giant ladder for 5 minutes, or it seemed like 5 minutes, and it was always just a little bit dangerous until one day he hit his head on it.
It hit my head. There was like I will never forget the like I got hit in the head by a ladder. I fell over and I stand up and everybody's face is like just everyone was.
And it was never like a foam ladder. It was always like a real ladder, wasn't it? Like
yeah, it was Home Depot. It was like Home Depot brand, like
metal ladder. That was like 20 pounds.
Has anybody's like, yeah, it was like the most Laurel and Hardy thing ever. It was just like swinging around and just like so fast, and it was like we were doing it to beats of the music, but the tempo was like pretty fast. So it was like, okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7
Oh my god.
Who was in charge of the ladder?
It was JC, wasn't it JC?
No, Jason Michael Snow.
Oh, Jason Michael Snow, that's right.
Jason Michael Snow and Kelvin Moon Lowe, the rhyming.
Those weird costumes, they were like construction workers in the opening number. Those costumes got cut and ended up being a swing costume, I think, at some point.
I know. But I remember that incident happened, and Kelvin was like, "Yeah, we're cutting this ladder." It was like
on himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all fun and games until Ethan gets hit in the head with a ladder.
It was so worth it. I loved that bit, though. I love that bit. I miss it.
Amazing. Okay, well, I'm gonna squeeze back one more question in before our time is up. Rapid fire. Is there a dream role you guys have that you want to play next now that SpongeBob is in your past?
Oh, that's so tough.
My dream roles I'm too old for. I've always had 2 dream roles, but I'm too old now, so they've passed me by. So no, I don't have a dream role.
Wait, what were they?
What were they?
They were the lead in Have to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, J. Pierpont Smith. I wanted to play him, but Daniel Radcliffe played him on the last Broadway revival, and he's like 18, or he was at the time. way too old. And the other is they did a Broadway musical of the Tom Hanks movie Big, and it was a big flop. But I thought if it ever come back, I would want to play the Tom Hanks role in Big, playing like Big. He's supposed to be like 30, playing a 12-year-old. But I'm way past 30 now, so I can't play 12 or 30. So they were my two roles that I wanted to play, but time has passed me by.
I'm sitting here waiting until I'm 20 years older so I can play Edna Turnblad. That's all I want to do in the history. All I want to do is do Hairspray. I just want to do a bunch of Shakespeare until it's time to do Hairspray, and then I want to do Hairspray.
I love that so much for you.
Good.
That's really good.
I think since I was a wee child, I knew that I wanted to play Tevye more than anything else in the world. Tevye from Fiddler on the Roof.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's undeniably. I don't know. It all sounds good. I wanted to play Tevye since I was probably 8 years old.
Well, every year you get closer to the right age to play that role.
I know. I'm going to be the youngest Tevye ever. Gonna break records.
I want to play so many Sondheim roles, and I want to play 2 roles in Into the Woods. I want to play the baker's wife, and I also want to play the witch.
Boom.
At the same time, in the same production.
Yes.
Can I like? This is like this sounds like a total plug, but I am gonna say, because my second thing, I'm like sort of getting to do a Sondheim role, and I've always wanted to do that. And hopefully when Classic Stage comes back alongside Lilli Cooper,
hey,
I'll get to like be in a Sondheim show. So playing Lee Harvey Oswald in The Balladeer and Assassins.
Yeah.
So that is a total dream of mine. I'm pretty excited that I'll tackle it.
I can't wait to see that.
Awesome.
Well, sounds like more incredible things are on the horizon for you guys. We cannot thank you enough for joining us tonight. That brings our event to a close. Before we go, we obviously got to take a picture, guys. So if your cameras are off, turn those on. Everybody get ready. I'll give us a little countdown. Okay, guys. Oh, everyone's set. One more Squidward coming. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we gotta get the next page.
Page.
Ready, guys? 1, 2, 3. Amazing. Well, Lilli Cooper, Ethan Slater, Gavin Lee, and Danny Skinner, thank you guys so much for joining us. We had an incredible time. Remember, everybody, you can book Lilli, Ethan, and Gavin for one-on-one experiences, meet and greets, video shout-outs. Get it going. Danny, maybe we can get you on Broadway Plus. Yes. Okay, guys, we've convinced him. So BroadwayPlus.com/first name, last name. If you guys want to stick around and help us brainstorm some March and April event ideas. But Lilli, Ethan, Gavin, and Danny, we will say good night and thank you.
Night, everybody. Bye. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Good morning.
Thank you all for coming. Guys!
Weirdest hours of my life.
Oh my god.
That was so fun.
Let's cry, man.
That was awesome.
That was great.
I also just love how it immediately went into nostalgia for them. It immediately went into just reminiscing about the show.